working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Maricar Velasco delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines. President Duterte said he would be firing a female official handling an economic office because her performance was not in parity with other officials in his cabinet. Huge fires are raging across vast swaths of Indonesia's rainforest, some of the world's biggest, with toxic smog shutting hundreds of schools in Southeast Asia, officials said Tuesday. ASEAN reached its latest milestone in August, celebrating its 52nd ASEAN Day. President Rodrigo Duterte said he would be firing a female official handling an economic office because her performance was not in parity with other officials in his cabinet. In a media interview after the oath-taking of newly elected officers of the Malacanang Press Corps, Duterte said he felt that the performance of the economic official was lacking. Duterte did not bear her name nor give any other details. Earlier, Duterte bragged that he fired Pasig River Rehabilitation Commission Executive Director Jose Antonio Goycia over alleged corruption. Duterte did not explain what corrupt activities Goycia was tagged in, except for boasting about being transferred to the Bureau of Customs. The president said that aside from the unnamed economic official and Goycia, more officials would be fired. He said his intention is to wipe them out. There are a lot of vacancies in the government as the Bureau of Internal Revenue and Bureau of Customs. President Rodrigo Duterte said he would want to remove brokers at the Bureau of Customs to curb corruption within the agency. The president said, quote, "If there are brokers, there's really corruption involved. Now I'm saying tell Filipinos if they really want to curb corruption, remove those gross. No more examiners and customs, no more brokers," adding that he would be able to cut corruption overnight if brokers are removed. Instead of brokers, Duterte suggested allowing the BOC to accredit persons to arrange their shipments. He also urged the Bureau to ignore brokers. The president said that he would not wait for Congress to pass a law eliminating brokers at the BOC. Duterte also said corruption in government made him want to resign. Malacanang on Tuesday expressed concern over bomb attacks over the weekend at the public market in Isulan town, Sultan Kudarat, and in a military camp in Indanan, Sulu. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said he hoped security forces would lay out measures to prevent similar incidents from repeating.
Allow this anything that will show a rise in terrorism in any area of this country is always a matter of concern. And we hope our security will improve more on their devices to stop this.
And then
Panelo, however, admitted that preventing suicide bomb attacks was easier said than done.
But you know, sometimes if it's a suicide bomber, parang ang hirap din. I'm sure they're doing everything to stop it.
An alleged female suicide bomber was killed in an explosion around 5:45 p.m. at the entrance of the camp of the Army's 35th Infantry Battalion on Sunday, September 8. This is the second suicide attack in the Philippines this year. The first one took place in Indanan, Sulu last June 28. On Saturday, September 7, 8 persons were injured after a blast took place in a public market in Insulan, Sultan Kudarat. Security forces have beefed up the security measures in various public places and in all entry and exit exit points to prevent possible movements of members of terror groups. The Armed Forces of the Philippines said it is too early to tell whether martial law in Mindanao would be extended due to the bomb attacks. President Rodrigo Duterte declared martial law in Mindanao following attacks launched by the ISIS-inspired Maute group in Marawi City in 2017. It has been extended thrice until December 31, 2019. Congress approved the third extension of martial law in Mindanao in a joint session on December 12 of 2018. Indonesian authorities have arrested 85 people linked to weeks of deadly unrest in Papua, police said, as Jakarta accused an exiled separatist leader of stoking riots in easternmost territory. Tens of thousands protested across Papua on the western half of New Guinea Island as anger over racism and fresh calls for self-rule fueled mass demonstrations and violent clashes with security forces. Officially, 5 demonstrators and a soldier were killed, but activists say the civilian death toll is higher. Jakarta blocked internet services in Papua, making it difficult to independently verify information. The ban has been gradually lifted, though remains in effect in some cities. Foreigners have also been restricted from entering the region over what the government said were security concerns. Indonesian police said they have arrested 85 people in Papua since the unrest broke out in mid-August and are hunting for another 20 suspects. Authorities have arrested suspects in other parts of the country and issued an arrest warrant for a prominent Indonesian lawyer and Papuan rights defender over allegations she spread fake news about the unrest on her social media account. Authorities also pointed a finger at Benny Wenda, chairman of the United Liberation Movement for West Papua, saying he stoked riots to draw global attention to renewed calls for an independence vote. National Police spokesman Dedi Prasetyo said the riots in Papua happened by design. Wenda, a former separatist rebel who was granted asylum in Britain years ago, earlier dismissed Jakarta's claims as politically motivated. A low-level separatist insurgency has simmered for decades in Papua, a former Dutch colony, after Jakarta took over the mineral-rich region in the 1960s. A vote to stay within the archipelago was widely viewed as rigged. Indonesian President Joko Widodo meets with Papuan leaders at the presidential palace in Jakarta after authorities arrested 85 people linked to weeks of deadly unrest in Papua.
Proses sebuah kemakmuran, proses sebuah kesejahteraan di negara manapun itu ada prosesnya, ada tahapan-tahapannya. Oleh sebab itu setelah infrastruktur ini kita benahi, kita ingin masuk pada tadi yang disampaikan oleh Pak Bisa Polo tadi mengenai pembangunan SDM itu.
Adalah membangun istana Presiden Republik Indonesia di Papua, di ibu kota Provinsi Papua, di kota Jayapura. Izinkan kami dalam waktu singkat dan berbahagia ini.
Visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. species that you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. Much of Kuala Lumpur's skyline was covered in smog on Tuesday morning as forest fires raging across Indonesia carried thick clouds of haze across Malaysia's borders.
Tak oke ya. Satu buat kesehatan, buat secara umum buat pemandangan macam itu. Sebab kalau buat kesehatan mata sakit, iya susah sedikit. Sebab di sini udara jadi kotor.
Huge fires are raging across vast swaths of Indonesia's rainforest, some of the world's biggest, with toxic smog shutting hundreds of schools in Southeast Asia, officials said Tuesday. Massive jungle areas in Sumatra and Borneo Islands are ablaze as thousands of personnel battle to quell the fires, frequently started to clear land for crop plantations. Burning forests to make way for farming is also thought to be behind the enormous fires currently ripping through the Amazon in South America, and experts believe they could have a serious impact on the global climate. In Indonesia, the number of hotspots, areas at risk of fires, has soared in parts, including on Borneo, which the country shares with Malaysia and Brunei. Air quality has dropped to unhealthy levels in and around Kuala Lumpur, according to the government's air pollutant index, and the skyline has been shrouded in thick smog. The smell of burning foliage filled the air, and residents were suffering respiratory problems and complained of itchy and sore eyes.
Untuk luas sekitar 5 hektar. Untuk kendala kita sumber air yang sedikit. Untuk personel juga masih kekurangan sampai malam karena resiko di lapangan kan lebih bahaya lagi. Belum lagi ada binatang berbisa atau ini apinya yang sampai ke dalam.
Hundreds dead in the Philippines, a threefold increase of cases in Vietnam, hospitals overrun in Malaysia, Myanmar, and Cambodia. Dengue is ravaging Southeast Asia this year due to part to rising temperatures and low immunity to new strains. But one group of scientists is rolling out trials to breed dengue-resistant bugs in a bid to tackle one of the world's leading mosquito-borne illnesses, raising hopes the disease can finally be beaten.
We think that method is very effective, very good, and there's no harm to the people of the commune when we release mosquito.
Net25 shows live and on demand anytime, anywhere, on any mobile device on OSM Play.
Welcome back. ASEAN reached its latest milestone in August, celebrating its 52nd ASEAN Day. Here are the highlights.
To have you here with us this morning to officially inaugurate the new building of ASEAN Secretariat. My warmest welcome goes out to my colleagues, my good friends, foreign ministers and head of delegation from ASEAN member countries. Welcome to Jakarta.
As we stand here today at the inauguration of the new ASEAN Secretariat building, there is no doubt in my mind that ASEAN has come a long way.
Mencerminkan spirit baru ASEAN, mencerminkan the new ASEAN, dan saya berharap ke depan sebagian besar kegiatan ASEAN sudah selayaknya dapat dilakukan di gedung ini. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, saya resmikan gedung baru Sekretariat ASEAN dan Dirgahayu ASEAN yang ke-52, Long Life ASEAN, terus bersatulah kita, jayalah ASEAN. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
As ASEAN Chair and as Foreign Minister of the Kingdom of Thailand, I wish to simply say, thank you, Indonesia.
And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Maricar Velasco and I'm one with 25.